Room, and those of you that are watching virtually with us, welcome to our first annual Lead Talk. Come on, make some noise. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. We're just so glad to bring this level of material and conversation to the community, and most of all to our viewers. So welcome to Lead Talk. I'm going to turn it over to my better half to the right of me. He said I'm not the better half, but I am the rib, and so I'm going to turn it over to him.
Yeah, I thank you so much, LV2. Well, first of all, what an amazing day just to be alive. Anybody just happy to be alive? Come on. It is an amazing day to be alive. And if you're out there, I hope that you are alive. Okay. So the thing that I want to say is, first of all, is how transformational this day is. I always think that the first day or the first time is always the most transformational time, because that's the time you step outside of yourself into purpose without fear, without anxiety, and you trust God to do what you know you may have been afraid to do. So to me, this is transformational day one, that we are stepping out and we are declaring that this will be a continuous thing that will be an amazing blessing to this community. Can I get an agreement for that? That this will. And so we're going to have some amazing speakers, some speakers today. They're going to do their talk. But what I want you all to do is I want you to take notes. I want you to remember what they're saying. They're going to say today, because these are some amazing talents. Come on, these are some amazing talents. And the Leadership Center, we're here in Hidden Hills. In the Hidden Hills community, if you're seeing us online, and we're here because this is an amazing community that is partnering with us to make it even more amazing. So thank you all for joining us today. We're going to go ahead and get started. I can't wait, and I hope that you're just as excited.
Thank you, lead visionary Tony. If you are watching with us, and those for you in the room, if you want to follow along with us, there are some QR codes that are very important to our time together. The agenda is there. If you want to learn more about the Leadership Center and how we serve our community, is there. And if you want to partner with us, that information is available to you today. And so we will talk about these special areas continuously, but I'm excited about our first speaker, and I want to bring him up. We're going to dive into our very first talk, where it's so important when it comes to artificial intelligence, AI, right? And technology is one of those things we can't run away from. And so we thought it very important to bring technology to the stage. And it's one of the things that's very important to the Leadership Center, that we want to continue to develop our leaders and continue to develop our team. We can't run from technology, but it's important for us to learn to embrace it. And so our first speaker is going to dive into some great conversation about AI and how it's transforming how we are able to do leadership. So let's bring Raphael Hughley to the stage.
Can you guys hear me? Yes. All right. So, good morning, everybody. Yeah, my name is Raphael Hughley, and today we're going to talk about AI and how it can help with your leadership goals. So before we do that, I want to paint a picture of one of my leadership failures and how AI could have helped me earlier in my career. I was in the military for about 20 years, and this story happened about 12 years ago. We had a young lady, one of my airmen. She was a great worker, but she had struggles when it came to her fitness. So, being a leader I am, I saw that, and I recognized that we had other people who had those same struggles. So I became what's called a unit fitness leader. So I took over the fitness program, and we trained all these folks to get them ready and fit to fight. Well, we trained this young lady, and she passed her fitness test. Now, in the military at the time, if you fail 4 fitness tests within the span of 2 years, they cycle you out of the military. She had failed 3. So we got her passing her first one, barely passing, but passing. We kept at it, and then she passed with flying colors. We got back, and I came back and I found out that she had failed. Her failure was mine because I had led with the past, did my research on her, made sure she was capable, led with the present, worked with her to get her past this trying time, but I didn't lead for the future. I didn't give her the tools necessary to succeed going forward. Now, that story is a great segue into how AI can help build futures for your subordinates. If I had AI at the time, I would have had an advisor to tell me, hey, this is great for the past, this is great for the present, but this is what we need to do for the future. All of my mentors, all of my leadership, we were all just caught up in the human element of congratulations. We didn't get the chance to say what next. So we just kind of left it there and expected her to fend for herself. It didn't work out very well. So I segue into that with AI, with learn how you govern your people. You can leave your fingerprint in AI and it will create another you. And the best way it does that is through what my significant other calls personas, but they're projects, or in any other AI platform, they have different names for it. But what it'll do is it will create another you in a segmented space. So, what does that mean? So if you need a leadership consultant, you need a marketing consultant, you need a CPA, you need a financial consultant, you need different aspects of your business, this AI can be you in that aspect of your business. It will talk like you, it will think like you. These tools are so powerful because it can make it easier for you to kind of duplicate yourself and replicate those roles so you don't have to do all the things necessary to make your business function on your own. It speeds up the process dramatically. So in the moment, if I had AI at the time that I was, mentoring this young lady, it would have told me, hey, the thing you need to do next is have her own her fitness journey. And the way to do that is to put her in charge of someone else's fitness journey. That's where we failed. She should have taken my spot as that training leader. She had all the tools to do it. She had all the knowledge to do the job, but I just never put her in that situation. We were just too caught up in congratulations, admiration, and adoration for the success of her present. We never got a chance to chart her future. AI is so powerful in other ways as well. It has the ability to push not just your business forward, but in your personal life as well, right? If you have, let's say, problems in your relationships, AI is capable of being that advisor as well. And a lot of people don't understand just how powerful AI is. It goes beyond just, hey, I need to use it as a search engine. It's more than a search engine. It's an everything engine. It can be whatever you need it to be at the time you need it to be it. Now, the way it functions is you have to tell it about yourself. If you want it to write like you have to give it examples of what you've written so it can read the things that you've written, and then it can create more things that are written in your language or in your style. It's capable of that. It's capable of, if like, for example, Copilot, if you're using Microsoft Teams, if you and your team are all using Microsoft Teams, you put all your documents in Microsoft Teams, it will be the AI in Microsoft Teams to pull the data from all the information inside of your company to regurgitate it to you and get you whatever you need to be successful at that moment in your job, at your business, whatever you're doing. It's such a powerful tool. And the best way to use it is to ask it about itself. So if you're not sure how to use it, ask it, hey, how do I use you? Ask ChatGPT about ChatGPT, right? But whatever it gives you, make sure you trust it, but verify that the information is correct. Because if it's pulling it off the internet, we all know that not everything on the internet is real, right? So in conclusion, I'd like to say that AI is a great tool for your leadership goals. It's a great tool for your business goals. It's a great tool for any kind of goals you have in your life, if you know how to use it and you know how to leverage it. My failure as a leader for that young lady will follow me forever. And knowing what I know now with the technologies that we have today, I can look back and kind of reflect on the things that I could have done for her, because AI, talking to AI about that specific situation has helped me to understand what I did wrong, and I learned and I grew from that. Thank you.
Come on, let's give it up for our first speaker. Amazing. So amazing. And so if you have questions, everyone, you should have a card. We're going to hold the questions to the end of the talk where our speakers will all be here, and you can ask any questions that you may have. But we're going to bring up our next talk. We're so excited about bringing our next conversation to the platform. Yes. Okay, so we're going to transition to our next speaker. This is our first time doing this. And so if you're watching it for our first time, welcome to Lead Talk 2026. We're so excited for you to be a part of our conversation and a part of our experience. My husband and I, we pastor a church right here in DeKalb County, Metro Atlanta area, and we opened up a leadership center that serves the community, and we're so excited about that. But a little bit about the leadership center. The design was to make sure that we bring leaders together, partners from the community on a continuous basis to have conversations that, come from leadership. Everything rises and falls on leaders. So when you see companies, nonprofit organizations established, all of them have something in common. They all have something called a CEO. Right? And CEOs are leaders, and they didn't get there overnight. They have special skills. They have special networks. They have special spaces. They have special supporters. And so all of that is very important. And that's the reason why we developed the Leadership Center, because we wanted to make sure that we had a place to pour out into all of our leaders. And so we're going to bring our next speaker up to the stage. She's not a stranger to the Leadership Center or any of our community initiatives. Let us put our hands together for Kedra Fairweather, and she's going to tell you about her talk.
Good morning, everyone. I'm super excited to be here with you today. My name is Kedra Fairweather, and my talk is Who Told You That? So if you would, I'd like to take you on a journey, and we're going to start with a picture. Picture yourself driving in this nice car. You know the road. You've got your hands on 10 and 2, and you're driving this way because you're responsible like that. You're watching the traffic. You're watching the signs. You're watching the clock. You're watching your mind, because your mind is always doing a whole second job while you drive. And then out of nowhere, someone screams at you, "Move over. Get in the other lane. That's not the right direction." And you find yourself flinching. And just for a second, your shoulders tighten and your heart rate spikes. And you grip the wheel and you're holding on for dear life. You're confused because you're like, I know where I'm going. Why is this person screaming at me? And for a second, just for 1 second, you consider it. You consider moving, not because you got new information, not because something inside of you told you to change your direction, but because you heard a loud voice with this great sense of urgency telling you to move over. But what you didn't know is the direction they were yelling was convenient for them. It wasn't convenient for you, and it wasn't the direction for you, and that's not your exit. They weren't yelling because they had clarity for your life. They were yelling because they needed room. And if you're not careful, you will change lanes in your leadership based on somebody else's convenience while calling it wisdom or great advice. So today I'm asking you, what are you leading? Wait, no, that's not the right question. Today I'm asking you something deeper. Who told you that? Who told you that you had to carry it all? Who told you you weren't enough and that you couldn't dream? Who told you your only value is performance? Who told you your calling has an expiration date? Because every leader in here, whether you're leading a district, a school, a ministry, a team, a business, a family, or a movement, you are being coached by a story that's stuck in your head. And the question is, who has been doing the coaching? Let me tell you why this is personal for me, because I love this. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I love leadership. I mean, I love all things leadership. But what lights me up most about leadership is the development of other leaders. New ways for people to learn so they can become the best leaders that they were designed to be. But here's what I learned the hard way. Everybody doesn't ride with you the same. Some folks just don't want to be in your car. They want to climb in your car, get in your lap, grab your wheel, and drive you in their direction. They'll tell you who you are. They'll tell you what you're good at. They'll tell you what you should do next, like they know you better than you even know yourself. And we have to say to that, you're right. And I say that with love because I've served in a lot of leadership roles and I've had to experience it personally. After I got married and had my first child, I moved from Athens to Atlanta. I was trying to do life right, be a wife, be a mom, and finally step towards my calling in seminary and get my master's degree. Well, because I listened to someone else, I didn't start that master's in divinity till 10 years after I was supposed to. Initially, I took a flexible job that made space for what God was doing in my life and inside of me. But then I looked around and everybody on my team was getting promoted. They were becoming directors and assistant principals. They were getting bigger checks. And I was like, wait a minute, Willis. Where is my promotion? And that's when the voices, they started yelling. You have experience. Go prove yourself. Take the assistant principal exit right now. And I find myself swerving and rushing toward an exit that looked successful, but wasn't assigned to me. And when I took the job and got off on the wrong exit, I landed in a great school with great scholars, but I myself was in a dark place spiritually, emotionally, physically, and mentally. I was losing sleep. I was losing weight. I was losing peace. I was losing time with my toddler. I was losing. And I had to sit with one question that changed my life. Kedra, who told you that? Who told you to trade flexibility for fatigue? Who told you to forfeit obedience for optics? Who told you that rushing was wisdom? Because I didn't just change lanes, I almost changed my life. So when I say story, I'm not talking about fiction, I'm talking about the story that we keep in our mind. I'm talking about the repeated sentence running underneath our leadership decisions, quietly shaping our confidence, our boundaries, our reactions, and our relationships. And for some of us, raise your hand, you may know this, it sounds like if I don't do it, then who will get it done? They don't respect me. It could be everybody's moving, so now I'm behind, or I'm not built for this, or I'm too much, or I'm not enough. And I need you to hear me and hear me clearly. A lot of our burnout is the story we carry while we work. We're not just tired from meetings, we're tired from meaning making. We're not exhausted from responsibilities. We're exhausted from constantly proving we belong. But today, we're not letting uninvited voices take the wheel anymore. I'm going to give you 4 anchors to help you take the wheel back. Not all at once, because I want you to feel them, not just write them. We'll take them one at a time, right when you need them. Anchor number 1, know yourself and know your worth. Because when you don't know yourself, you will accept any label that anyone is trying to give you. When you don't know your worth, you will accept any price and any check that someone wants to write for you. And leaders, especially the ones who care, tend to be the easiest people to manipulate. Not because we're naive, but because we're compassionate. We care about the people. We want it to work out. We want people to win. We want the vision to come alive for everyone. So we keep adjusting and adjusting and adjusting. But let me ask you, who told you you had to earn your worth? Who told you that you only deserve peace after performance? Who told you that being strong means being silent? Some of us were coached early by a story that said, be perfect so you're safe. Some of us were coached by a story that said, stay small so that you're accepted. Some of us were coached by a story that said, work harder so you won't be replaced. And it might not have been one person. It might have been many people in a season. It might have been a critical moment in your life. It might have been one comment that landed like a bruise, and it was the bruise that never went away. So I want you to do a quick moment with me. I want you to write down one sentence. The sentence that shows up when you're under pressure, you get feedback, and you feel unseen. Now, I'll be honest and transparent. My sentence is, Kedra, keep your mouth shut, or you will be looking for a check. Now I ask, is this fact or is it fear? Because some of us have been living off a fear sentence and calling it discernment. And your worth cannot be measured by the last email, by the last meeting, by the last evaluation, by the last conflict, the last mistake, or the last outcome. Your worth is not a fluctuating stock market. Your worth is not a report, nor is it other people's mood. Your worth is rooted. And when you know yourself, you can hear feedback without losing identity. When you know your worth, you can set boundaries without guilt. When you know who you are, loud voices don't rush you into lanes you were never assigned to. Anchor 2, check your network. Who's in your circle and what direction do they bring? Now let's go back to the scene of the car. If somebody can scream one time and make you almost change lanes, it's because you gave their voice authority in your life for free. Every person in your circle is not in your corner, nor are they on your team. Some people are close because they love you, and some people are close because proximity gives them influence. So let me ask the layered questions. Who told you to let that person in your car? Who told you to let that person earn a passenger? Who told you that because they've known you a long time, they automatically get a vote? Who told you that mentors and friends always know what's best for you? Because in leadership, people just don't join your team. Sometimes they try to join your mind. So here's a quick check. You can jot this down if you like. We call it the 3 C's of your circle. C number 1, coverage. Do the people in your network and circle, do they cover you? Do they pray for you? Do they protect your name? Do they tell the truth about you when you're not around? Second C is clarity. Do the people in your network help you see? Do they ask you the right and good questions? Do they ground you, and do they sharpen your iron? Or do the people in your network show up as congestion, which is C number 3? Do they clutter your mind? Do they drain you? Do they confuse you? Do they not believe in the vision that you have? And they keep you performing versus looking for purpose. Remember, you can love someone and still move them to the back seat of the car. You can honor someone and still take back the keys that belong to you. Some people are not bad people. They're just not direction people. And leaders, when you are unclear about your vision, you will treat everyone's opinion like an instruction. But when you are clear, you can listen without surrendering. So as you think about your network, ask, is this voice helping me become more aligned or more anxious? Is this voice helping me become more courageous or more cautious? Is this voice helping me become more obedient or more people-pleasing? Because the wrong circle will convince you that survival is success, and survival is not why you were called. Let's go to anchor number 3. Clarify your vision. Where are you actually going? If you don't define where you're going, you will keep changing lanes every time somebody honks the horn. Vision is not a dream. Vision is direction with intention. And I want to say something that might step on your toes, and it's going to step on mine too. Some of us are excellent at managing everybody else's expectations and vision, but unclear about our own. We can execute their plan. We can run their meetings. We can solve a crisis. We can build a system. But when it comes to our own narrative, our own path, we've been letting life happen to us while calling it being flexible. Ask yourself, who told you to shrink your vision to fit someone else's comfort? And who told you your calling had to look like their calling? Because survival is not the finish line. No, it may be a season, yes, but it is not your identity. In this season, ask yourself, what are you called to do? I am called to build. I am called to heal. I'm called to lead, learn, plant, rest, stretch, create, transition, mentor, or rebuild. It's one sentence in this season. It's one thing that you've been called to do. And when vision is clear, your yes becomes powerful and your no becomes holy. And that's where the car metaphor comes back. If you're driving and you know your exit is coming, you won't panic when someone else yells. You may listen, but you won't swerve. You'll check your mirror. You'll check your blind spot. You'll check your signal. And you'll move when it's time because you're following the right direction. And that brings us to the last anchor, anchor 4. Have you talked to God about that? Now, I know everybody's background is different, But I'm going to say this as plainly as I can. If God is your creator, then God is your primary counselor. Some of us have been talking to everybody except God about the thing that God is trying to shape inside of you. We will consult group chats, the mentor, the coach, the colleague, the supervisor, the podcast, the algorithm, the comment section. And then we ask God to bless the decision that we have already made without him. So I'm asking you tenderly but directly, who told you to move before you prayed? Who told you to accept that position without peace? Who told you to stay in that lane when God has been nudging you toward the exit? Who told you that God only cares about Sunday and not your leadership Monday through Friday? Because God doesn't just care about our outcomes. God cares about our alignment. And sometimes the clearest sign you're being led by the wrong voice is that you feel rushed. The wrong voices rushed you. The right voices ground you. The wrong voices shame you. The right voices strengthen you. The wrong voices confuse you, and the right voices clarify you. So here's a practice that I want to offer to everyone. It's simple, usable, not complicated, just real. Before you respond to that email, before you make that hire, before you walk into that meeting, and before you say yes to that request, pause and ask God, what are you saying to me about this? What story are you rewriting in me right now? God, what is the right next move that is pleasing to you? Because leaders, if we don't pause, we'll confuse urgency with obedience. And God is not competing with the loudest voice in your life. God is inviting you to come close enough to recognize his voice. Now let's bring all of it together. Today we covered 4 anchors. Know yourself and know your worth. Check your network. Who's in your car and what direction do they bring? Clarify your vision. Where are you going in this season? And talk to God, because God, the creator, gets the loudest vote and should have the loudest voice. Now I want to end with one last layered question, one that can change your leadership today or tomorrow. Who told you that you had to lead like this? Who told you that you had to be exhausted to be effective? Who told you that you had to be accessible 24/7 to be considered valuable? Who told you you had to keep proving yourself to people who refuse to see you? Because if you keep letting unverified voices narrate your story, you will keep driving toward destinations you never chose. But if we reclaim the wheel and if we navigate our narratives, we will lead from truth, we will lead from vision, and we will lead from calling. Here's your charge. This week, when that familiar sentence rises up, the one that tries to shrink you and tell you that you're not enough, don't believe it. Pause and ask, who told me that? And then ask the real question, does that voice deserve a vote or impact in how I lead? If not, rewrite the story, because the story shaping your work can be rewritten. And you leaders, you're not lost. You're just being called back to your lane. Thank you.
Amazing. Amazing. Is that a whole sentence? Amazing. Where if you're enjoying our Lead Talk 2026, if you're just joining us virtually, welcome to Lead Talk 2026, hosted by Tony and Alicia Cash and the Leadership Center. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so excited. We've done, what is that, 2 talks? We've done 2 talks so far, and they have both been so amazing. We've had expert number 1, Mr. Hughley, who represents artificial intelligence. Come on, put your hands together. Who talked to us about AI. And then we had Ms. Keisha Fairweather, who's not a stranger to the Leadership Center. She's a coach in all metrics, especially leadership. And so what a wonderful talk about who told you that. And so next we're going to bring another expert. Oh, wonderful. The applauses are still coming. And next, we're going to bring another talk to the stage on financial wealth building. We're so excited to have that expert, who is none other than visionary Tony Cash. And we're going to listen to him talk about wealth. And nobody taught us this. There's so many different things nobody's taught us. And so he's going to come and introduce his topic here shortly. I want to tell you a little bit about an organization called the People's Agenda. They are here collaborating with us today. If you are a registered voter or you're not a registered voter, you can become a registered voter today. But if you need to check your registration status, if anything has changed, you've relocated, they're here to make sure that you know all things about staying informed when it comes to your voter registration. Okay, our next leader is ready to speak. Let's bring him to the stage, Mr. Tony Cash.
My mother once told me the worst thing that ever happened to me was actually the best thing. She said, the worst thing that happened to you was that I wasn't there for you as a little child. But she said, I have a surprise for you. It is also the best thing that happened to you, that I wasn't there for you as a child. Now, let me be clear. She was not applauding abandonment. She was not applauding survival. My mother was doing what she knew as a mother I needed as a son to be okay with where our relationship was. Now, she explained this to me because as a mother, she understood that in life we all have what we call bridges that we must cross. And sometimes crossing that bridge is difficult, not because the other side does not offer us a better option, but it's what's on the bridge as we cross. Sometimes the bridge has cars that are driving on it, so that's the likelihood of maybe someone swerving incorrectly. Sometimes the bridge has been known to be a little shaky. So she said to me, my absence was not meant to break you, but it was meant to make you better. Because I, as a young lady, had a very limited mind. And if I was in your life as your mother, I would have exacted those limitations upon you. But as I see you today, you have no limits because no limits were placed on you. That conversation taught me something nobody ever taught us at school, at work, or even at home. Our wealth is rarely determined by proximity of place. It is determined by proximity to people. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. The leadership gap. We were taught that if we just get to the right place, the right neighborhood, the right city, even the right job, that everything would be okay. But nobody ever taught us that people, not places, shape our ceiling. This is the leadership gap that's keeping wealth out of our reach. Leadership isn't just about titles or authority. Leadership is about who shapes how you think, how you decide, and see what's possible. And most of us inherited our leadership environment without ever choosing it. The big idea, let me say clearly, most people don't lack talent, they lack effort, they don't even lack intelligence. What they lack is proximity. Proximity to people who think differently, decide differently, and live differently. Before money is ever shown to us, mindset shows up. And mindsets are contagious. So today, I want to share 3 reasons why proximity to people, not places, determines wealth, and why nobody taught us this. Reason number 1, people shape your beliefs before you ever make choices. Before you ever made your first financial decision, before you chose a career, before you decided what success looked like, your beliefs were already being formed. Beliefs about what's possible, what's realistic, what's risky, and what's for people like us. Most of us didn't choose those beliefs, we absorbed them. From dinner tables, from conversations we overheard, from the fears and frustrations of people who were simply trying to survive. My mother understood something very powerful. Limitations are transferable. Not because people are bad, but because beliefs are learned long before they're ever questioned. And here's the leadership gap. Nobody teaches us how to audit our beliefs. Nobody says, ask yourself, where did this belief come from? And does it still deserve to live in my mind? Leadership starts when you realize you don't rise to the level of your motivation, you fall to the level of your belief system. Change the people shaping your beliefs, and your decisions begin to change automatically. Reason number 2, people teach you how decisions are made, not just what decisions exist. People teach you how decisions are made, not just what decisions exist. This is critical. 2 people can have the same information, but make completely different decisions. Why? Because decisions making is modeled. When you grow up around scarcity, decisions are about survival. Play it safe. Don't risk too much. Take what's guaranteed. When you grow up around leadership, Decisions are about leverage. Build systems. Think long term. Use time strategically. Nobody sits you down and teach you this in a classroom. You catch it by watching people. What do you learn? How to respond to failure, how to handle opportunity. What do you talk and how you talk about money, and how you see your future. Leadership is not primarily taught. It's absorbed through proximity to people. And if you've ever or never been around people who think in terms of decades instead of days, you may not even know these decisions exist. That's not a personal failure. That's an exposure gap. Reason 3, people control access, not talent. This one is uncomfortable, but it's true. Opportunities don't move randomly through society. They move through relationships, jobs, investments, partnerships, mentorships, information. Talent may get you noticed sometimes, but proximity gets you invited. Nobody taught us that access is a skill, and proximity is how that skill is developed. Most people aren't excluded because they're unworthy. They're excluded because they're unseen. And staying in the same circle isn't loyalty if that circle keeps you from growing. Leadership sometimes means leaving people we care for deeply while choosing to expand your environment intentionally. When my mother told me her absence was the best thing that happened to me, she wasn't celebrating distance. She wasn't teaching awareness. She was saying, I loved you enough to tell you the truth, that I wasn't ready to lead you the way you deserve to be led. That's leadership. She showed me that sometimes, that love sometimes looks like protection from limitation. And leadership sometimes look like knowing what you cannot pass on to another person. Nobody taught us, but you can choose now. Nobody taught us that proximity shapes belief. Belief shapes decisions. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. And here's the empowering part of it all. If nobody taught you this, it's not your fault. But once you know it, it becomes your responsibility. So I'll leave you with this question. Who has the most influence over how you think? What challenges your limits instead of reinforcing them? And are the people closest to you preparing you for the life you say you desire, or the life they were taught to settle for? In closing, we don't need better locations. We don't need more motivation. What we need is better leadership. And leadership starts with proximity. Nobody taught us this, but now you know. Thank you.
Um, amazing. Amazing. Wow. We are on a heavy roll here today with so many experts in the room. Now, these talks are designed to challenge our thinking. Has anybody been challenged this morning? I hope so. That is the whole goal, is to challenge our thinking, help us dive more deeply into faith. And not only that, uplift us to the next level. You know, one of the things about challenging our thinking, it's an exercise. It exercises that muscle. It exercises our thought processes. It's a whole cognitive thing happening right about now. Whether you're watching online or you're in the space, I promise you, these talks around leadership are definitely leveling us up for 2026. And so that means that we're fulfilling our desire here at the Leadership Center. One of the things that we're bringing to the stage next is practical tools. We wanted to make sure that we were very well-rounded in our offerings and our topics. And so our next speaker is not a stranger to the Leadership Center. Dr. Tiffany Richardson, she's an expert in her right. And so we're excited. I'm going to let her introduce her topic, but she's ready. Let's put our hands together and bring her to the stage.
Thank you. Well, today we are here to unpack a very important topic. And our topic today is why smart leaders still feel stuck and what actually fixes it. Have you ever felt stuck? Okay, all right. So today we're here to unpack this major why. Have you ever felt stuck, even when you were already successful? You know, I know that I have. I had my dream job as an executive ed leader. And I tell you, even concurrently operating as a CEO of a nonprofit agency, I was living proof that hard work and ambition and drive, it gets you places. But here's the truth. I wasn't thriving. What good is being at the top and you're not thriving? I mean, really soaring in every area of your life. I just want to be honest. I was exhausted, physically drained, mentally fatigued, and was running on empty. Long hours, constant meetings, high pressure decisions, and it hit me. I couldn't reach my ultimate goals in business, in my career, or in my life if I wasn't healthy and whole. So I asked myself one simple question. What do I need to be the best me? As you look, I'm a business owner, ministry leader, mom, wife, educational leader, nonprofit leader. And so when you create your own board, I'm pretty sure you have several titles too. What do you need to do to be the best you? Well, what do I need to do today to be the best version of myself tomorrow? Smart leaders and business owners, they often feel stuck. And it's not because we lack intelligence. It's not because we lack drive. We have the drive. It's not because we lack talent. It's because we are trapped by three silent blockers. The first is a lack of clarity. You know what you want, but the path forward is foggy. The tasks just pile up. The ideals swirl around. We work hard, but we feel like we're running in circles. Have you ever felt that way? We all have big ideas. We dream, but dreams without consistent actions are like seeds never being watered. And so old habits take over. The focus fades and the momentum dies. And we're just going around circle after circle. The third is procrastination. Who has that issue? We delay action, waiting for the perfect time, the perfect moment, the perfect plan. We trying to get it so perfect till we doing nothing. Meanwhile, opportunities are passing us by and progress is being stagnant. Does it sound familiar to anyone in the room? Anyone online? You know, we got to move past that because procrastination can keep us from our destinies. For me, the wake-up call for me personally was my health. I was drained. I was worn out. And no amount of ambition could push me past the physical and mental barriers that I had built. Look at these pictures. These are all of who I was. Remember in the beginning I told you, mom, the business person, living life, the church leader, right? But after I was going after all of these areas in my life, I literally was just drained physically. Mental barriers that I had built. I had to start somewhere. And that somewhere was with gaining clarity on where I was. I took quiet time and I reflected. I prayed and I asked myself, what does being healthy really look like for me? Because see, your healthy may not be my healthy, okay? I'm not trying to be a size 2. I'm just trying to be healthy for me. And what does it look like? So how will this fuel my leadership and my career for my life? That clarity became my compass. Next, I had to tackle consistency for this area. Because, you know, I could do some procrastinating in this area. I couldn't just work out sporadically, or I couldn't just eat healthy when I felt like it. I just couldn't. I had to build routines, small daily habits. Habits that I could commit to no matter how busy my day got. Then came procrastination running behind me because I realized that waiting for the perfect moment was a trap. You know, every year at the beginning of the year, I would have a phrase, and my family would laugh at me. They'd say, what's your phrase this year? And it would always be a weight loss phrase. And then I would get going that January, and then here come February, March, April, and May, and procrastination was taking over. So we had to start with small daily habits, habits that I could commit to no matter how busy my day got. And so I tell you, my schedules had to be prioritized. I had to set small benchmarks. I partnered with accountability partners who pushed me to follow through. And they kept me accountable. Here's the key. I celebrated every small win along the way. Every pound lost, every mile ran, every healthy meal choice made. I stand in front of you today 115 pounds lighter than where I began. And you all, I'm still on the journey because I have ways to go. But I celebrate as I have gone through this transformational journey. And this journey did not just transform my body, but it transformed my mindset, my leadership, and my life. It even, and this was unexpectedly, but it birthed something greater than I even envisioned at the time. And that was a new stream of income through being transformed through the health and wellness product line, allowing me to help others take control of their health one small step at a time. As I progressed along, I was often asked, "What are you doing? How did you get there?" And so you can begin to tell your story as you are being transformed. Just know it's not just for you, but your story is to share with someone else. So, how do we break free from feeling stuck? Well, it comes down to four things. Number one, clarity. Take time to reflect, meditate, and pray. Define the small, actionable steps to know your why. Consistency is number two. Build daily habits and routines. Progress is built through repeated action, not occasional bursts of efforts. Number three, overcoming procrastination. Schedule your priorities. Set deadlines. Partner with accountability partners that's going to help you along the way. Break big goals into small benchmarks. Number four, prioritize your health and your energy. You can't lead whatever you're leading, and you can't perform without being healthy and energized. So create your highest level in being and don't run on empty because it doesn't help you. Your physical and mental well-being is a non-negotiable. Say that with me. Non-negotiable. Yeah, you're going to prioritize yourself. Small steps, consistent action, and focus will create transformation. If you are willing to commit to the task at hand, you will get results. I share my story not because it's unique, but because it's universal. Every leader, every business owner, every dreamer will hit a point where they feel stuck. But you don't have to stay there. And that's the good news on today. You're going to gain clarity, consistency, action, and obedience to the process. Start small. Celebrate small wins. Take the first step today. If I can lose 115 pounds while juggling my dream career and serving as a CEO of Unity Learning Network, imagine what you can accomplish when you commit to your own transformation. Your best self is waiting. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Be transformed and watch how that transformation ripples into every area of your life, your business, and your leadership. The journey of transformation doesn't just change your body, it changes your mindset, your leadership, and your life. So the question today is, are you ready? Thank you.
I know other words other than amazing, but amazing. Come on, let's give it up for Dr. Tiffany Richardson, who did an amazing job on delivering her lead talk with us today. We're so excited to have those that are joining with us virtually and our wonderful VIP audience that is right here in the room. We're going to transition to our Q&A session now that we've had all of our talks and all of our speakers come on up. And so I'm going to slide this over just a little bit. If I can have someone help me, we're going to transition into our Q&A session where we'll bring up all all of our speakers, and you can actually ask questions for those that are watching virtually and for those individuals that are joining with us in person. This is the time at the end of our talks where you can ask some questions. We're not done yet because we have a lunch and learn session, and we have a few other things kind of tucked away, but we want to bring our speakers up, and so you can ask any questions at that time about what they delivered today and what they provided. And I'm going to, turn the microphone over to my wonderful co-hosts and speakers and let them help. Okay, thank you.
Come on in, speakers. All right. Okay, you're going to, okay. That's everybody? Well, can we give it up one more time for all these amazing talents? So the thing that I want to say is this is what this whole thing was birthed for. To bring amazing talent to this community that I believe deserves this level of talent. I have found that sometimes we ask people to come up instead of bringing them up. And what we're saying is we're going to bring you up because you deserve it. This is an amazing community to be a part of. My sister here lives in this community, yes. And she can tell you, just how amazing and what it means. So I'm going to let her have like 30 seconds just to share what this moment means for her to have her brother and sister in this community helping her do the work.
First of all, I want to say thank you to lead visionary Pastor Tony and Pastor Elisha Cash. It is actually surreal. I not only live in this community, I grew up in this community. Down the street, I grew up in Hidden Hills, and this is the Hidden Hills complex. And so the opportunity to have visionaries come back to the place where we grew up, to come back to the place where we are, and reinvigorate it and bring life back to this space with perfect vision of how we can be better as a community. I'm ecstatic to be a part of. Tiffany and I actually went to high school together, so she grew up in this community as well. And so this is something that I've always dreamed of. I actually have a degree in speech communication, so to actually use that for something was just an amazing opportunity. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go ahead and start with our Q&A. Anybody, they'll bring you the mic, whatever question, statement you want to share.
Thank you for the opportunity. I had a question as it relates to AI. If someone wants to just start, just to kind of get their feet wet and understanding how business and AI relates, what are some of the apps or, where would you say the starting point would be? And then about how long should that study look throughout your week to gauge where you could not become an expert, but become better in utilizing those tools?
Well, right now, ChatGPT is by far the most popular one. So I would say start there because there's so much information on it out there. And again, you can ask ChatGPT about ChatGPT and it'll tell you everything about itself. Also, I would say go ahead and when you start the study, just I would schedule it for yourself so you can have time to sit there and focus, because you get pulled away from doing things left and right. Everybody's busy. So I would actually take time out and just schedule it for yourself. And then as you learn, everybody learns at different paces. So you'll know how much time you need to learn that skill set.
So what other tools? I know ChatGPT is the most popular one, but what are some other tools that you would tell people to dive into beyond just ChatGPT?
Well, that would depend on your goals, right? So we have, if you're in Microsoft Teams, you have Copilot. If you want to write articles, Claude is a really good one for article writing. But I would also say to get a really, really good technical baseline, if you want to learn coding, then there's a website out there called Code Academy, not Code Academy, Code Academy. It'll teach you coding from scratch, and you can interact with those AIs on a different level if you learn how to code. That would also be a really, really good tool.
Good morning and thank you. I have a couple of questions for the panelists. One, for AI. Within my business, in government, we are still getting permissions to use AI. I work in the area of curriculum design and development. However, one of our barriers is that we, as our industry, aren't able to feed AI our information. It is against our company policy, so we're still kind of working out how would we best use it. So I was wondering, what would you suggest that we use, how we use and engage with AI with that particular barrier? So that's my first question around AI.
So when you create a project in AI, you can actually direct it on how it should be used. So if you have, like, for example, legal documents, you can give it legal documents and say, hey, you're not allowed to use the web. You're not allowed to use anything else, just this legal document to answer my question. Secondly, if you have, for example, your company isn't allowing AI to kind of, you're not sharing all of your information with AI. You can kind of tell AI what you want it to know and let it pull from just that. Or if you have a company website that's actually public knowledge, you can point it to that and tell it to use that. There's a lot of different ways that you can limit AI to make sure it doesn't you don't have any spillage, so you don't have any sensitive information, sensitive documents that get put out there that you don't want to.
Okay, thank you. That is helpful. For Pastor Tony and Mr. Kedra, one of the things I was thinking about in terms of young people and limits and proximity, how would you think that you could encourage young people to expand their proximity outside of people that they find that they are comfortable around? I'm specifically thinking about my emerging adults, my two children, 19 and 22, and they know what they know. But they are in different environments because of where college has taken them. But yet I still find that they are comfortable and not willing to move beyond those spaces in order to gain new mindsets or to shift above what they've been comfortable with. So that's my question. How do you encourage young people to move out of those spaces to gain proximity? And then my question for Dr. Tiffany is, when you found that you've hit those areas where you know yourself and you know those areas where you typically fall into procrastination, how do you renew or reinvent your goals for what you're working towards? So I know for me, I'm good from January to April. I know I'm going to hit a roadblock in April and get stuck. But what I want to do now is to plan for that, because I know it happens. But I'd like to hear from you, what maybe are some strategies that you use to combat where you know that you hit your roadblocks. So thank you.
So as it pertains to the young adults, youth, It's going to sound very simple, and it's not to simplify it, but to me, expansion happens through exposure, right? Our kids know, or young adults know, what it is that we expose them to, the places that we take them, the people that we encourage them to be around. Because in exposure, then I have an experience. And once I experience something different, that might excite me to do something. If we're exposed and don't have a different experience, I don't know what it is that you're talking about. It's like pie in the sky. And so I think I'm going to say this as an educator. As parents, we sometimes take our foot off the pedal too early. We forget that the brain doesn't close until 25 or 26. So when kids turn 18 or 21, we're like, our job is done. But the reality is that you have to keep pressing the gas because the brain hasn't even closed up yet. So all of the development and the things that they need exposure to, we still have somewhat of a level of responsibility to give back to them. I tell Bailey all the time, like, I know you think you will be grown at 21, but that's just not real. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I can't make every decision, but I can encourage and expose you with the resources, which is why I align with Pastor Tony and Pastor Alicia, because they're going to teach me how to be wealthy. And so I think that that's something that he's good at, is that when you have wealth and you have finances, it gives you opportunity to expose your children to something different and to take your young adults to a different place. You don't want to answer?
No, I think that was perfect.
Okay.
Okay. How to plan for when you know you're going to have hit the brick wall. That's so good, because we do know that we're going to get there. And especially when you really reflect and sit with yourself and you know that this is going to be an area, it is great to plan for it. Some ways that I plan for it, like I know even when I was receiving just a plateau of just this, I know this is coming up. Holidays are my big thing. I already know what time it's about to be, right? So I plan for that, to enjoy that moment, but to get right back on track. And I think you have to know, yourself, so you can set those boundaries, and know what is too far, or then how to get out of that. Right. So for me, I knew holidays was my thing. But I wanted to enjoy that as well. Right. So I planned that. I'm going to have this moment. And then after this moment, I'm getting right back on track. And I think when you plan for that, then you still can enjoy life and the journey along the way without feeling like you're deprived or just feeling stuck and I have to stop. And I think sometimes the being stuck, we get stuck there and then we don't restart to begin again. Yeah. And so we just always got to plan that moment so you don't stay stuck there. Have your moment and then plan to move forward.
Awesome. That's good.
Absolutely. Great answer. We've got someone in the corner over there.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Pastor Tony and Pastor Alicia. This was amazing. I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to show up. I have a question for you, Pastor Tony, about finances. And what is the lifestyle of a financially fit person? Like some of the daily habits. For example, I'm recognizing now that I need to change not just the place, but change the people so that I'm surrounded by financially fit people. So I would love to hear one of the daily habits that someone who is financially fit, such as yourself and your family, that you do that maybe someone that's just starting the journey can do.
Yeah, thank you. I first of all, I'm going to make light of this part of it. But being a financially fit person is like being a Jehovah's Witness. Everybody runs from it. I'm just telling you about how it is. It's like when they see you coming, they're like, oh, no, here he comes, preaching about money. He wants to tell me. So I heard my wife, I overheard her the other day saying that there's some more areas that she want to get better. And she's like, and he's pushing me, and he's going to put me on some restrictions I don't want to be on. And I was listening like, You're right. You're right. Because I've already done the analysis and seen, without her help. Like, that's the other thing. If you stay around me long enough, I'm going to analyze your money. So if you don't like your money being analyzed, because I'm going to watch you for a while, and then I'm going to have a conversation with you. So I analyzed her money, and I said, you got like 30, 40% more you could do. 30, 40%? I said, yeah, I see it. And then I began to share with her what that would mean to her future, and that impacted her. So one of the things that financially fit people do is they're no different than the people who are physically fit. They go to the gym every day. We wake up every day looking at our finances. There's no off days. There's no, we wake up I get up around 4:35, and I may take another nap at 6:30. But 4:30, 5 o'clock, I'm going to be up, and I'm pulling up everything to see just what's happened. Sometimes, it may be that the market did something that made me uncomfortable, that I just got to sit there, and I'm not exaggerating, and I just stare at the screen for 10 minutes. Because I'm thinking, I like that, let's do more of that. I don't like that, my spidey senses are telling me, you need to move. And so the proximity starts, to me, is number one. And you have to get around people that are thinking and acting about their finances the way you want to think and act. So I'm going to say this to most of your children are too old for this now, but you can kind of tell them the worst thing that we were taught as children is to not be friends with children simply because we weren't getting along. We should have been taught, what do they bring to the equation? Maybe you all don't agree in that area of who's going to use the color, but maybe them being around causes you to think deeper, differently. Come on. How many of us as adults will admit, if we don't instantly feel like we're sensing a connection, we think that means that's not the person we should be? And what I'm saying is, come closer. You might find that that's the very person that can bring life-changing thoughts, ideas, and results to your life.
Good.
Any other questions, statements, comments? Okay, great. We like that. One more.
I have a question for Dr. Tiffany as it relates to transformation. I know that you were saying that you had an accountability group. May you share a little bit more about the accountability group? How do you find them? What can help us to be held accountable as we're going through a transformation in our health, please?
Absolutely. I think it's just important that you connect with the community that you feel you can connect with, right? And there are lots that are out there. If you're speaking particularly for me, I do have a community that you can join with. It's Transformation, the Transformation Experience. And so we delve into various areas, and it's leadership, it's health and wellness, it's spiritual growth, it's leadership. And so with that, you would join our community, and then you would tap into the area that you've set goals for this year. And then we get you along with the transformation coach that can help fuel you to meet your goals for the year. So I have my QR code back there. Definitely give me your information, and we can reach out to you, and you tell us what area you're focusing in on, and we definitely can connect you with our community to help you get this transformation on the road.
I was hesitant to share this, but I believe it'll bless somebody. It's a personal story. And I was like, I don't know if I want to share this, but I feel like I need to. So to come to this space, it didn't look like they would give us this space. I'll leave it there. So normally in a retail space, you have to have a certain amount of sales and things of that nature to show you can sustain the space. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. You just don't move in. They want to know, okay, if you open the store, what's your record to say you can sustain the store, whatever. So we're in a retail space. We're abiding by all of the caps, processes, so we're good. And so, number one, I had spoken to 100 people, but I never gave up, and this guy was hanging up, and he said, hold on. Before I let you go, Tony, tell me a little bit about what you want to do. All these retail spaces that told me, no, you can't do what you want. You're saying you want to do that. I'm going somewhere. I never gave up. In finances, don't give up. You're going to have some terrible years where you say, well, I didn't do everything right. And okay, but the day you start can become the best day of your start of your financial life. Now, here's the thing that I was hesitant to share. Why finances are so important. They would not allow us in this space until they saw my full personal financial picture. They weren't interested in the nonprofit. They weren't interested in what everybody else give. I'm just telling you all something. This is true. They said, no, send us your full finances. They had to review it. I had to sign a waiver for them to check my credit. And here's the thing about it. They didn't even tell me what they were looking for. But after they did their review, they met with me, and he said the owner was like, wow, okay, yeah, they can move in. You get where I'm going with that. It wasn't the rest of the team, see, what I talked to you all about, leadership. If I fail in that area, this is what my point is. If I fail in that area, we're not here today. There are some areas that you and your family are never going to get to and accomplish if you keep failing in your financial area. There are blessings, opportunities that God has out in the earth for you that is not the devil who is messing it up. It is the decision you make every day about how your financial picture will look. So I hesitate to share that, but I felt it would help somebody.
It was needed.
And can I add to this, because I have, you can always feel that you are in a place financially, but you can always get better. And when he spoke about proximity, that's why we stay so close in proximity. And I allow him to look at my finances to check them. And there's one decision that we made about, has it been a year yet? When we looked at that as far as growing my Roth?
Almost a year.
Okay, almost a year. But when I looked in that account the other day, I'm telling you, so just the small disciplines that you can make, and I, you know, but I did. Cause see, we going somewhere, people. We going somewhere. And so we're going to be very particular, and we're going to set goals. And not only are we going to set the goals, we're going to do the discipline behind the goals to reach the goal, right? And we're going to be consistent. We're going to stop procrastinating, and we're going to do what we need to do so that that bottom line can look differently in the account. It's time out for hoping, wishing, and dreaming things show up. But when we put those small disciplines in place, the accounts will look different. And I tell you, just that one account alone, I ain't gonna tell you what's in there, but it looks different. And it is just and I will share this though, it's just a small commitment, and the commitment was about $150. That's it. So we're not talking about something that's out of reach. The question that he asked me as a financial consultant, and that's why you got to get in proximity with people and in these communities and groups that are going to help you grow in the areas in which you identify. And I know that I want to be financially better. So the question that he asked me was, what are you able to put aside that won't hurt you? Right? And so we identified that amount. I said, now, you know what? I can put this aside every month. As I look towards my future, it's worth doing that. And all I can say is that account looks much better. So connect with him real soon.
To Dr. Richardson. So, well, thank you all so much. LV2, I know you want to come back and get us back into shape, but thank all of you for just being a part of this. We can return to our regular scheduled program.
Put your hands together as they're transitioning and transforming the setback. Thank you so much for joining us. We're very, very excited for our first Lead Talk Conference 2026. We are transitioning to our lunch and learn. And so we're going to take a pause with you, but don't you go anywhere. You put us on pause, go grab you a sandwich or grab you something to drink, your favorite beverage, and join us back here in the next 10 or 15 minutes. Lead Talk 2026. If you would like to connect with us, there is a QR code that I'm going to ask our team to put below us. We have a way for you to support the mission, right? You see the great work that we're doing. You're hearing the speakers. You want to know more about how can I give to the cause? Well, here's how you can give and support the mission. You can scan the QR code right below me and make sure that you connect with us. If you would like to utilize the Leadership Centers for any training, for any workshops, or anything of that nature, we have that flexibility as well. Our calendar opens up in February, and so like we shared with you, we're open to the community. So if you would like to connect with us in that facet, we have a connect with us form right there also behind me. Oh, that's me behind me. We also have a QR code for that as well. Want to know more about the agenda? I'm next up is my workshop with strategy. So if you are a person that likes to, excel, but you always have been good with making sure that you are aligned with certain goals, I want to help you strategize for 2026. You're gonna get there, but it's gonna take a different strategy this year. So hold tight, grab your lunch, and we'll be right back. Guests, lunch is available. This is the time you can Can we have the lights lowered? We're gonna go ahead and. And a thumbs up, Janae, in the hallway once we go live will be perfect. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We have transitioned for lunch, and so I am your Lunch and Learn speaker for a couple of minutes. I promise I won't be before you long because my session today is about strategy mapping. Strategy mapping. Can anyone say strategy mapping? Okay, good. My audience is ready. And so my subtitle is How High Impact Leaders Decide What Deserves Their Time. And this is a skill that I haven't 100% mastered, but I am on the mastery level track. Perfect. Thank you. One of the things I like about having a strategy map, it helps you kind of see all of your priorities, because as a leader, everything is important, right? If it's not important, it hasn't reached our desk or our table. And so I want to help us dive into how high impact leaders decide by alignment, not activity. Because a lot of times that's what we're deciding by. We're deciding by about the activity, not by what's important in alignment. And so there are 7 areas that determine where time goes. And they're right behind me. So the 7 areas that determines where time goes is skills, habits, relationships, support systems, delegation, focus, and alignment. If it doesn't align with these 7 areas, it doesn't deserve your time. This framework helps leaders stop reacting and start leading strategically. So I have this young lady behind me. She's in great condition, right? You all see those muscles in the arms, right up there in the shoulders. And so she's climbing a wall. And the reason why she's climbing this wall is because there's something at the top that she's trying to reach. There's a level that she's trying to go to. There's something that she wants to tap into. And so as leaders, we're always pointing in a direction. And so skills is one of the main things that help us develop as we're going in that direction. So growth often shows up as a stretch. Anybody been stretched before or anything? Right. And so if you're not being stretched, then you're not growing. And I like to think that is one of the key points of acknowledging when you're growing. If you're being stretched on your job, if you're being stretched in your career, if you're being stretched on your business, if you're being stretched in your marriage, if you're being stretched in your health, these are signs that you are growing. When the same challenge appears repeatedly in your leadership journey, it's rarely a coincidence. It's development. God uses repeated patterns to build your capacity and to help you understand what's ahead and what you need. They aren't obstacles to avoid, they're training grounds for transformation. And so as leaders, we understand that. You know, when opposition comes, we're not running in the opposite direction. We're understanding, this must be something that God is trying to develop in me, because high impact leaders recognize that discomfort signals growth. You're not growing if you're always comfortable. If you're going in the same direction every year in the same time, that's comfort. You've mastered that. The assignments that stretch you beyond current capabilities are precisely where skills are forged. Every difficult conversation, every complex problem, every moment of uncertainty shaping the leader you're becoming. And so I like to tell leaders all the time, you don't stay a leader if you can't have a difficult conversation. You have to, rep up those communication skills. If every time it's time to have a difficult conversation, you're going in the other direction. That's not leadership development. That's leadership avoidance. So we want to talk about what is God developing and what is he reinforcing. So let's take a look at it. Y'all ready? Uh-oh. So one of the things I also talk about is habits. This is where I found, repeats. We talked a little bit about in our transformation session earlier. Habits. Discipline determines capacity. Everyone say it with me. Discipline determines capacity. Your daily habits create the infrastructure for impact. So what you do every day, the small things, the consistent actions that compound over time, helps you get the extraordinary results that you want to receive. So your morning routine, you protect the way you steward energy throughout the day, the rhythm of rest and renewal. All of these point you into the direction of your leadership and your leadership sustainability. Discipline isn't about, being rigid. It's about creating space for what matters. When you establish these habits and align your habits with these, you will begin to prepare for greater responsibility or keep you on track, keep you trapped in cycles that no longer serve your purpose. So that's what happens with habits. Either we learn to develop new ones, or we keep the bad ones that no longer serve us and keep us in those same cycles, right? That no longer serve the purpose that God is developing us for. So discipline determines your capacity, leaders. All right. I'm trying not to skate through this because I know we're eating lunch, but during my session, you could raise your hand, pause, and ask questions. You have a little worksheet, right next to you that once we're done, you and your group are going to kind of talk through that. So who's walking with you and who's holding your ladder? Now, this is important for me because I'm in so many different circles and I have so many different programs that I'm running and so many different programs that I'm a part of. And so when you become excellent at what you do, people seek you out to be a part of what they're doing. They want your input. They want you to be a part of what they're doing. And so sometimes I always make sure that I'm walking with the right people, that I'm aligned with the right folk, right? And so make sure that someone is holding your ladder as you're always holding other people. Leadership was never meant to be a solo journey. The relationships you cultivate and the support system you build directly determine how high you can climb and how long you can sustain the climb. So it's one thing to get up there, but it's a whole nother thing to stay there. We always tell people your skills or your talent may get you to the table, but it's your character that will keep you there. And so you need a support system to help you maintain the character that is needed to be there. Too many talented leaders burn out, not from lack of calling, but from attempting to fulfill that calling in isolation. And so you want to make sure that you have great people around you. So your relationships, your mentors who've walked the path ahead of you, your peers who understands the pressure that you're facing, your strategic connections for this season that helps you get to the table, build the table, right? And the right people at the right time, because it's important. Every season is different. And sometimes we don't like to recognize that the seasons have changed and we want to take the same people with us in a different season. But we got to release those people because that was for that season. But in this season, I need a different group of people, and that's all right. That doesn't mean that you don't love them, that you don't appreciate how they have served you in the past or how you all have really engaged. That just means that God's doing a new thing, right? And so support system, people who hold you accountable, coverage when you're vulnerable, because we don't always get it right. Is that a hand or you're... Oh my goodness, yes. Go ahead and ask your question.
So I really want you to expand on the symbolism of the ladder.
Yes.
And what that really means. Because you mentioned it, but what does that mean for us when we're holding someone else's ladder and they're holding ours?
Yes, absolutely. So Dr. Chan has a book called Who's Holding My Ladder, right? I love that book. And then there's another book out there that talks about who's holding my. It's about it's a couple of different strategies or phenomenals or thought processes around the ladder. The way I like to use it is about networking, right? And I talked a lot about the ladder piece because at the bottom of my ladder, there is a support system, but at the top of my ladder, there's a board of directors. And so my board of my directors are what I call my seasoned saints, right? Those are the people that I guess I'm standing on their shoulders. They've already kind of made it before me, and they're sharing gems. You know, they're opening up, you know, sharing those things that I need to kind of know along the way. They've been married for a while. They've been committed to the mission for a while. They've been committed to the cause. And not only that, they have the receipts. Right. And so for me, the receipts are important because a lot of people, you know, they get the flapping the jaws and all those type of things, and they make it they wrap it up very nice. But, you know, to be a part of my ladder, it's important for you to have opened up and show me your receipts. So then I know that you're just not giving me advice that you haven't followed, but you're advising me because this has worked for you. Okay, so that's number one. So I'm just wanting to lay that there. And at the bottom of it, of that ladder, is your support system, the people that you can call on, and they're loyal. You know, when you're going up the ladder, they're not leaving the ladder, because you got to make sure that you have somebody at the bottom of the ladder that you know that's going to hold it down for you when you get low, when you get vulnerable, when you don't understand things, that you can call in the midnight hour, or you are changing a course. You want to make sure that they can provide honest feedback to you and you can receive it, right? They're your prayer warriors, the people that's going to intercede on your behalf, right? And so you want to make sure that you have those two types of people on your support system. Did that help? Okay, and so does this relationship strengthen my leadership or drain it? Not every connection deserves equal investment. Some relationships are for a season, others are for a reason, and a precious few for a lifetime. Wisdom knows the difference. That's the wisdom. You know the difference of the seasons. Your support system isn't optional. It's an essential to your infrastructure. Without accountability, guess what? You drift. You drift. Without coverage, you're exposed. Without honest feedback, you operate with blind spots. Anybody has blind spots before? Because, you know, everybody's walking on eggshells. Nobody's, you know, able to tell you that, you know, you didn't cut that right. Or, you know, everybody's cheering and nobody's saying, you know, the obvious, you know, you were late with that, you know. And so you want to make sure that you have people in your space that can provide that honest feedback. So you're not operating in blind spots, and you won't derail your own impact. Calling without support leads to burnout, not breakthrough. It just does. If you don't have the proper support, then you're going to get burnt out real quickly. But if you have the proper support, it will lead to breakthrough that is very timely. Okay, my next thing, I promise you, these are key things that you're going to get. Release what was never assigned to you. Now, this is where I like to spend the night, right here, because it's the time where you have that self-talk, because sometimes people will assign things to you that were not assigned to you just because you may be good at it. Now, I've always been good at coloring. I can put colors together and I color in the lines, but you don't see me trying to paint and be Mozart or anything like that, you know, but I'm good at coloring. Yeah, Picasso. Thank you, babe. Picasso, thank you. Right. I don't know anything about famous art, but, you know, I know good artwork when I see it. How about that? All right. All right. One of the hardest truths emerging leaders must embrace is delegation. Isn't a weakness, it's wisdom. The task fulfilling your calendar may be good, important, and necessary, but they don't require your unique authority, anointing, or assignment. They're keeping you from your highest contribution. And so with this, you have to recognize the truth. Delegation is an act of leadership, not an admission of inadequacy. When you hold on to everything, you limit not only your own growth, but also the development of those you're called to raise up. So you have to release it. Ask the clarifying questions. Does this task require my authority or just my availability? Am I holding this because I'm the best person for it or because I've always done it? Is my involvement expanding the mission or merely maintaining comfort? And so these are things that we as leaders, especially when we get used to doing things over time that we don't want to release things, we have to ask ourselves these clarifying questions. Make the release. What must I release to lead at a higher level? The assignments that got you here won't take you there. Promotion requires relinquishment. Your next level is waiting on the other side of what you're willing to let go. And so I found this to be personally true. When I started letting go of some things in my business, also on my job and in the ministry, I was able to do other things. You can't step into your next level carrying old assignments. Every elevation requires intentional delegation that worked at one capacity becomes a weight at the next. So if you find yourself doing domain tasks and it's starting to feel like this is weighty, that may be a sign that you need to delegate that to someone else. I don't care if it's a online virtual assistant or some type of virtual vendor that could support you in that capacity. If no one around you have that skill set, there's plenty of platforms that could provide that you can offshore some of the things that you're doing that could provide that support. So you may need to put that in the budget to say, these tasks are taking too much of my time where I need to focus on some other areas. Let me give this to someone else, okay? And that brings me to this part right here. Protect what produces the greatest impact. Protect that. Yes. And the reason it being, if a world that glorifies business and celebrates constant availability has become a revolutionary act, high impact leaders understand a fundamental truth. Not everything urgent is important, and not everything important is strategic. Focus is the discipline of protecting what produces the greatest return. And I can tell you right now, that is, if you don't get anything else from today's session with me on strategic decisions and figuring out what's a priority, that is that. The urgent will always scream for attention. Email notifications, text messages, meeting requests, last minute crisis. People will always push their crises on you. They create the illusion of productivity because you get used to being the savior, the superwoman, the superman, right? And so strategic leaders build buffers between urgent demands and strategic priorities. They schedule their most important work first and protect it fiercely. Let me talk about busyness, because a lot of times, I've gotten caught up in that a lot. Activity doesn't equal achievement. You've done all this stuff, and then at the end of the day, well, what did I actually achieve today? You can fill every hour and still produce minimal impact if you're working on the wrong things. High impact leaders measure success not by hours logged, but by outcomes created. What outcome did I achieve today? You can have a whole list of things, but what was the outcome? And the ruthless eliminate tasks that keep them from busy, but don't move the mission forward. Because sometimes you could be working on things and then look up and say, well, how did this point me towards my outcome? How did it point me towards my vision? I've done all these different things today, and everybody else got the best of me. But when it comes to my outcomes, what did I actually produce? And so let's talk about energy management, because a lot of times, I'm glad he's here, because sometimes when I'm on the road with talking about energy management, I often use this Tony as an example, because he'll be on the phone with all these people, and then I'll come home and I'm ready to talk, and he's looking at me like, I don't have anything else to give. And I'll say, well, did you use all your words already, honey? And he would say, yes. And then I would go down the line of who he could have possibly have spoken to, because I know that those people use a lot of words. And so, if you've ever met Tony, he uses a lot of words too. And so when those two people get on the phone, he has nothing left to exchange. And that's called energy management. Time management assumes all hours are equal. Okay, they're not. You have peak hours when you're thinking your sharpest, right? You have creativity flows, and you have sound decision making times too, right? Strategic leaders identify these windows and guard them for their most cognitive demanding work. And so they schedule administrative tasks during very low energy periods. These are just things that you could just you could just do them. But the cognitive time where it requires critical thinking, you have to protect those times, because everyone has an optimum time where they can handle and manage those things. Where does my best energy produce the greatest return? This single question transforms how you allocate your most precious resources, time, attention, and energy. Mine is 4:30 a.m. So I say that. Wait a minute. Let me back up. So 4:30 a.m. is when I hit the ground. By 5 o'clock, I'm thinking. So 4:30, me and the Lord, we're wrestling. Lord, are you sure you want me to get up right now? I'm snoozing, are you sure, God, today I'm still wrestling, even though I'm disciplined. I know that but 4:30, I'm normally on the ground, cup of coffee. 5 o'clock, I'm there, I'm into it, right? And so you have to answer that question. What is your best and where's your greatest time? Your time, attention, and energy. When you answer it honestly, you discover that much of what fills your day produces minimal return, while your highest leverage activities get squeezed into leftover moments. So look at your time, figure out, what that looks like for you, and then assign that time frame for the things that needs the greatest return. Not everything important is strategic. Focus separates high impact leaders from those who simply work hard. Protect your capacity to think, protect your capacity to create, and protect your capacity to lead at your highest level. All right, this is my last slide, and I'm gonna slam dunk this one. Okay, make room to lead at a level you're called to. All right. And so recently, I created a planner because I love to plan. I love a good planner, and I don't buy the little cheap ones either, Jeanette. I used to, when I first started out, I would go into TJ Maxx, and I still love TJ Maxx. I'm not throwing TJ Maxx up under the bus. And I would go in and I would buy me a good planner, spend about $10, $20 on the planner. But then I got into some different groups of accountability partners around some executive level coaches, and I saw their planners, and I said, well, what's the name of that? And then they would share it with me, and when I would open it, it wouldn't just be about a calendar. It would be about your thought process and how you looked at the year and what is it that you wanted to achieve. And so I decided that these were great planners, by the way, because it would help me with my business, and it would help me with my family life and my career, but it was nothing in there spiritual. And so although I was doing great at the planning pieces, I did feel like that I was not quite aligned with God on what it was that he would have for me to do, because his lens was a little different. So I created a planner called Make Room. And it helps us as leaders understand that if we're not leading intentionally and we're not making room for God to help us stay aligned with all the other practical things, then we can find ourselves getting ahead of God. We can find ourselves leading from blind spots. We can find ourselves thinking that we're doing great things, but we're not doing God things. And so alignment is the culmination of everything we explore: skills, habits, relationships, support, delegation, and focus. It is the decisive act of creating the congruence between your calling and your calendar, between who you're becoming and how you spend all your days. And so what I want to share with you that are watching today is, let's start this year releasing outdated commitments. Let's look at our calendar. Say the commitments that brought you to this point served your purpose. Honor what was, but don't let yesterday's assignments steal tomorrow's opportunities. Evaluate every recurring obligation through the lens of calling. If it's no longer aligned, have the courage to step away gracefully. The second thing is protecting strategic priorities. Once you've identified what deserves your time, protect it like your leadership depends on it, because it does. Block sacred time for strategy, for development, and deep work. Treat these times and appointments with yourself as non-negotiable. And so in the morning time is non-negotiable. Everybody's asleep. So nobody's asking me any questions. And so I have my own little time carved out. And so I'm protecting that time. And so that is a huge part of strategy mapping. Is alignment creates capacity. When you feel like you're overwhelmed, it's because you're not in a line. You are out of alignment. Anybody have a car that's ever been out of alignment before? You know, it's kind of moving in a direction when you're trying to drive it in one direction. And so that's what happens. Alignment creates the capacity. Capacity creates impact. And when you align your time with your calling, you stop managing days and start leading moments. You stop reacting to demands and start creating transformation. This is how impact leaders lead. When we look at our time, your assignment is, when we look at our time, we tell time where to go. Time doesn't tell us where to go. And some of us, time is telling us where to go. We look up and it's already, we wake up and it's already 5 o'clock because we did not delegate time. We didn't tell time where to go. And so we need to start looking at our day and say, day, this is how I'm going to get the best out of you. Thank you for your time with me today. That concludes my session. Okay, Q&A. Are there any questions for anyone that is watching, or are there any questions for anyone in the room?
You mentioned about the Make Room Planner.
Yes.
Can you tell us how to obtain that?
Yes, ma'am. I will provide a QR code for you. And there's also, if you go to the Leadership Center, leadchurchatl.org, and click on the link that says Make Room, you can purchase your planner there. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay. Well, yes.
Number one, amazing.
Thank you.
Session. I think we all can say that. I think I made a note that that said congruency, that we must make sure there's congruency between our calendar and our calling. Like, I don't know who needs to hear that, but that right there, it hit me, because we have a calling, but people are always calling. And so they get the space, by calling, they get the space that's really meant for the calling. And so when you said making sure that there's congruency,
Yes.
In my brain, it's saying, Tony, make sure that the calling takes priority over just who calls you.
Yes.
Because a lot of times people are calling for different reasons, different things, but it disrupts the calling. And if it disrupts the calling, then you got to have the heart to say to them, yeah, I would. But see, that's the problem, because it's disrupting the calling of the purpose God gave me this day for. So I thought that was amazing. And protect our strategic priority, which means we got to have one. You have to have a strategic priority.
So you spoke about really protecting your time, your energy, and I think most people really are challenged with that. So how would you talk to us for a moment about how you've managed that? You're in a lot of places and spaces, and how do you manage that?
Yes. So my make room planner is how I manage that. As we get older, sometimes we try to store everything here, right? And so I can't store everything here. I have to write it down, right? And so the Bible tells us to write the vision, make it plain. And sometimes we say that and we think, those are just words. But no, I literally have to write the vision down and make it plain. And it allows me to create boundaries for certain things that are a priority to me, right? Whatever it is, if it's health wise, I go through the calendar and I go ahead and designate my appointments for the year. The ones, each, whatever check that I'm supposed to have. Like I think I start the year off with, the annual check where they run all your numbers, right? They tell you your BMI and, your cholesterol, so that's January. Believe it or not, I start the year off with a whole check, health wise, and that lets me know what I have to do health wise for the rest of the year. Like, exercise is important, how I need to eat. I think we started on the 21 day the Daniel challenge. Those are the things, all of those things are so I protect my health in that aspect. Then it's the spiritual alignment. How much reading of the word am I doing? I have something I call the root routine, and I talk about that in my planner too. And that root routine are the basics, your worship, your wisdom, your word time. And did I do that today? That's daily. That's not like throughout the week. I need it every day because, as soon as I get to work, it's too late to kind of grab, it's not too late. You can grab it in time. But for me, I need to be submerged in it by the time I get to work because I get so many requests. The type of work that I do, I'm always putting out fires. And so I got to have something to pull from. And so if I hadn't protect my spiritual time, my devotional time, if I don't have anything to pull from, I can't guarantee what people may get. I always say this: I'm saved, sanctified, and sometimes filled with the Holy Ghost. And so in order for me to stay filled, I do have to stay rooted in my routine. Relationships, that's something that is important to me. My marriage, how I interact with my children, putting those things on the calendar, carving out that important time. You have to make sure that you do that as well. What are those things that are important to them? I have a daughter that's off at college, and so she thinks, she's grown, good and grown now. And I think it's funny because you should be able to pay your own bills if you're good and grown. So we have check-in time. So I'm checking them grades, I'm checking your attendance, and I check her on Mondays and Wednesdays. So we have a weekly check-in time and then I want to see how you're doing. I want to lay my eyes on you and kind of hear how you're going. And so those are things that are important to me. I check with my son Jackson every day because we ride together. So I hope I'm answering your question. And then it's, the things that takes me outside of here. I'm a part of a couple of different organizations. They get one, they get one activity a month. They get one meeting a month, and that's about it. Right? Because that's all I got. Right? And so give me one. And that's what I tell them. That's all I can sign up for. I can only give you one. Give you one meeting, one activity, and that's it. And so you just got to figure out how everyone fits in your schedule and then create boundaries for that and the balance. Anybody else? Nope. Okay. Well, this has been fantastic, and I have really enjoyed it. And now Tony is coming back up to close us out.
I want you to stay here so that we can just say thank you to everybody.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you to
all of our speakers. You are amazing. Yeah. So thank you so much for volunteering.
All of you who were on the social media feed. Mm-hmm. I never want to not take an opportunity to thank you for being an amazing partner in all that I do. I have put that on my life calendar to make sure that every day of my life, and she knows, she wakes up, I say something kind to her. Because now I understand what's important. You know, that's my root. You understand? And so I want to just publicly say thank you for helping me bring this vision, this purpose, all to fruition, because anybody who knows the two of us sees your hand all over this. And I just think you deserve all the thank you, the respect, the honor. And guys, go get that planner. I was there while she was up 1 o'clock at night, bothering me, asking me, Cash, what you think about this? And I'm like, I think that if I could stay asleep, I can tell you better in the morning. But it's worth being there with you. So the leadership, yes, the Leadership Center would not be what it is without you. So for all of you who are home, all of you who are here, thank you, support us. Let's make this place a place where the community can come, not just survive and thrive. So thank you all so much. Make it an amazing day, and thank you for joining us today.
We'll be right back here on Monday, Martin Luther King Jr.'s Celebration Day. Have a great rest of your Saturday.